Hello, everybody. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. I'm back in action, back on the channel, and back to doing what I love, talking about West Ham United as a supporter of this club, because it seems like people don't want to support the club no more. They've got these agendas. To my right is Matt, who's an Arsenal fan, who's loving life at the minute. And we're here to talk about West Ham versus Arsenal and how fun it's going to be on Sunday. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How yourself? How you doing?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I'm back in action now. I'm going to be fully firing, raring to go. It's been a bit of a mad one. I will explain it towards the back end of the show, reasons why I had to sort of have a little break. But we will talk about this first. What are you making of this game on the weekend, Matt? 'Cause every time we speak, you don't win, so it's good.
Hey, listen. You know what? I said to myself today, I'm not going to come on that we're going to win because maybe the opposite might happen. But you know what? I just think the last two times we've had bad experience. Obviously, the one where you beat us when we were supposed to win the league, or we were en route to do that.
Yeah,
And obviously, do you know what it is? I'm worried. I'm slightly worried because if it was at home at this
yeah,
point, I would have made. I know you beat us early season, but I'd have felt a bit more confident. But I feel like you're coming off a 3-0 defeat. But you
yeah,
played well. You played well in that game. Like if you had scored first, I think the game would have been completely different. So I'm not silly to think this is an easy game. And everyone, Arsenal fans, talking about the Liverpool game, saying, "Oh, we're in a good place." But this is the game that will tell.
yeah.
If we go and win 3-0 at West Ham, I'll go, all right, you mean business. If we go and lose now, all them celebrations against Liverpool, they're out the window. So,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean?
I, I remember the game because you got a point. If I remember rightly, if I got this
Yeah,
right, you got a point against Liverpool at
yeah,
Anfield, and then you played us
yeah,
the next game, and basically it was a long drawn out game, if I remember rightly, because it was supposed to be on Boxing Day.
yeah,
It was the last game of the fixtures, like towards like the Boxing Day fixtures,
yeah.
and then basically we turn up there, and I'm going to be honest, when you come on before, I was like, mate, I think we're going to get slapped in this one, right? And then we turn up there and we end up winning, which was great. Don't get me wrong. I think we got a bit lucky in moments, but you make your own luck in this world. Do you know what I mean? Um, I think the weekend's game is going to be a blockbuster. I think West Ham need to turn up, and if there's a game to get up for when West Ham are in a bad moment, it's Arsenal at home.
Yeah.
Like Arsenal at home, Tottenham at home, Chelsea at home, United at home, whoever's coming to the LS, big team. That's the time that when West Ham get up for it. So I agree. I think it's going to be an interesting game. We're going to go into it a bit deeply, but yeah, we're going to see what you think. But have Arteta's Arsenal turned the corner?
I'm not going to say fully yet. Do you know what it is? I feel like our style of play is different to last season. You're a West Ham fan. You saw from the outside last season, we were playing crazy football, quick, progressive football, through balls everywhere, defense was quick. Like everything was just high speed. I think this season,
Yeah,
we're more trying to suffocate opposition. We're not conceding as many chances. I think our goals against is the least XA or X. You know these X's
yeah.
nowadays. I think it's the least in the league. So we're changing the style of play, and I feel as good as Declan has been, we've changed a bit with him being there. So yeah, I wouldn't say we've turned the corner yet. As I said, I'm not one of them. I don't jump on a big result and think we've changed. There's
Mm,
other games where I'll look and think, oh, okay, because we beat Liverpool last season at home. The West Ham one, I want to turn this one around. We still got to go to the Etihad and Tottenham Stadium. So there's always still these games to go where that will
mm,
really tell me. So I'm going to wait till after Sunday to say if you turn the corner. What I will say is we're a bit unlucky with injuries, as most teams are. But I feel when we have a fully fit 11, I don't think there's many teams that can beat us. And I think
mm.
that's a frustration for Arteta. Like we bought Timber, who was supposed to play, didn't play. Banked on Partey being fit, not fit. So, Jesus been in and out as well. So we've suffered a bit. Obviously, other teams have suffered more. But yeah, I'm not going to say he's turned the corner yet. I'm still a bit doubtful on certain things of his. And I said I'll give him this summer window. And this is the window, I think I said to you before as well,
Yeah,
where I'm like, all right, let's see now. No more of we need one more player after the summer window. This is the one where it's like, you've got to do something. But
mm.
with the midst of a season, we're up there. Who knows what can happen? Me and you've got a little thing. We ain't got to tell people what it is.
I
Yeah.
still got that money's coming to me, mate. I'll tell you that now. I've got that money's coming inbound, East London style. But
You know what
I'm
I
just,
mean? So let's see what happens with it.
yeah, I'm going to be honest. When you played us and then you played Fulham, if I remember right, you played us, then you played Fulham, and you went on a bit of a bad spell. Then you had Liverpool in the sort of FA Cup, if I remember rightly. It was a bit of a mixed sort of Arsenal. Arsenal sort of like fell off a little bit.
Yeah.
I think other teams have sort of come into it, like because they've not seized the moment. Like Liverpool against you the other week, you do the job, get the job done, you pull Liverpool back in, and it is an interesting title race now. It's Arsenal, Liverpool, and Man City. I still think Man City have got the firepower to come in, and obviously they've got the game in hand and everything. But when I do look at Arsenal recently, I've seen a side that looks like they're starting to like get up ahead of steam now. Do you know what I mean? But this is a game where last season this was the start of the Arsenal downfall. Like coming to the LS, you know what I mean? I'm gonna go back there, but you know, Saka missing that penalty at 2-1.
Remind me, come on.
I know, mate. I know, but it was a bit of a mad one last year, like a complete mad game because that was yet again West Ham in a bad moment. Like West Ham was in a bad moment. Arsenal arrived.
Saying that though, that game. Oh, funny enough, with Declan Rice, that stop partly getting it past him. Funny enough, to get a pen. But that game, first 40 minutes, I thought we're finishing them.
Yeah,
like, I'm done. And I always say in football in general, 2-0 is the worst scoreline. Whether it's 80 minutes, 90 minutes, when the team get one, it's panic stations. So I think when we didn't get that third, and obviously Saka missed the pen, you just knew, you just felt when was that equaliser coming. So I think with Arsenal, it's just finishing chances. You watch us, Fulham, we had chances. I think you guys, how many chances do we have at the Emirates? And that's what we're missing. Like, I think we've dealt with the not conceding, but we now need to score. And I don't know, you lot have this thing on us. Like, it's so frustrating, you know what I mean? Like, I get my dad calling me after every West Ham game, and I'm just tired of it. It has to change this weekend. It has
What do you make of Declan going back? Obviously, he went back in the League Cup game, but that was a completely different game. He come on. I think Arsenal were 2-0 down, I think, or 3-0 down at that stage. What do you make of him coming back on Sunday? Because it will be the first game he's been back in the Premier League.
You know what? I just want to. He's been playing well. He played very well against Liverpool. I do think though there is something in him playing there or playing against West Ham where he doesn't do his normal game. I think he played at Emirates, didn't he, in the 2-0?
Yeah.
He wasn't his best. And it's one of the few games where I can remember it. So I think there is something there. And I understand it. Come on, like, he knows he was adored by West Ham. He loved West Ham to bits as well. So it's a tough one. But I think now we're warming up. And I feel like this is the one where he comes. And we've got to make up for it because the cup game, they were laughing at him. You know what I mean? I don't know what you lot were chanting. I can't remember what the chant was, but you lot were just laughing at him.
Well, probably a lot, especially coming from our fan base. Probably a lot. I think it's a big game for Dec, really, for your side. I think Alvarez has come in and been a breath of fresh air at West Ham. Like, I like him a lot. Like, he's rugged. He's no nonsense. Obviously, we've got Calvin Phillips now in there. Whether or not he starts or not is another thing. He hasn't, for me personally, he hasn't blown us away. Yeah, but it's not to say he can't do it. But over the last two games, I think he's been absolutely shite, if I'm being honest. Like, really, like, since he's come on, he's just not. It's night and day. And we used to have arguments. I remember doing spaces on Twitter and speaking to Leeds fans, and we used to have the old Declan Rice versus Calvin Phillips back in the day. And now you can see the difference between the pair of them. But he is with us, which is mad a little bit. I will say that. I think it's a big game for Dec. I think it's a game that if West Ham get control of midfield, because I know you've been playing with Jorginho and Rice, and I'm going to ask you about that. I think it's going to be a blockbuster sort of midfield because Alvarez will get stuck in, and he's no nonsense. Do you know what I'm saying? What are you saying about that pivot with them two?
You know what? If you go back before the Liverpool game this weekend just gone, I said Jorginho has to play. I think a lot of people look at the age and say, "Oh, Jorginho, ex-Chelsea, whatever." But he's very good at dictating play. He's not the quickest, but he just keeps the ball ticking over. And against Liverpool, he did that. There were points where he would shield the ball, get it, pass it forward, and just quickly. And he knows his role. His role is just to get it off the defense, pass it through. And I think when he plays, it gives Rice a bit more license. And I feel like if we can have Jorginho dictating and having Rice do what he did against Liverpool, I think we'll be good. And that's not discounting West Ham because, I respect West Ham. I think you lot have done fantastic with the Declan Rice money and really improved. But I just think if we can just get hold of that, and I think we need Jesus fit as well. I feel like with Eddie, it's easier for your back two to deal with him. I think like Jesus as he said himself, causes chaos. You know what I mean? Like he's very like robust, bumps into players, and I think Saka, Martinelli's picking up as well now. So I think we can give you guys a lot more problems going back your way. But again, you guys have got a good strike force. So it's going to be I think it's going to be a great game. I think whoever scores first, I think if we score first, I think we win this one. I genuinely.
Yeah. Well, you done it last.
I don't do that.
I'm going to go back there, mate. I'm going to go back there, but you done it last time. One thing I will say, I do agree with you. If Arsenal score first, and the way the fan base is at the minute, because we're just like, I don't think there's going to be a fan base left at West Ham, because I think we're all going to kill each other by the time this season is finished. But for me, if Arsenal score early and they score fast like they did last season, and I'll be honest, last season, like you scored 2, you could have scored 7 in the first like sort of 20 minutes. Like it was ridiculous. Like every time you was coming forward down the byline, putting balls in, it was just mayhem with West Ham. I think West Ham are a bit more defensively better. Not going to say we're great, but we're defensively better. But I do think we've got a better outlook now. Like Antonio's been mentioned, but we will get onto that when it comes to the lineup. Let's come to this: the love-hate relationship under David Moyes. Now, this is a bit of a conversation that I want to bring to the table for you, Matt, because I know a lot of Arsenal fans. Obviously, you're an Arsenal fan. I used to live in North London, and when Wenger come to the end of his reign at Arsenal, there was a lot of love-hate with him. There's a lot of love-hate with Moyes at the minute. Yeah, people like myself rate him, like love what he's done, and I would like him to sort of carry it on to a point. I'm not really fussed if he does go, then I ain't going to lose no sleep over it, so to speak. But there's a lot of people who hate this man for what he brings to West Ham, and I think that's a bit mad. What are you saying on this sort of issue under Moyes?
You know what? I think a couple of years a season ago, I understood it. I feel like what he's brought to you guys, and I think you've alluded to it plenty of times. Winning you guys a Conference League, one of the best days you guys, the current crop of fans are going to see. But worse for an Arsenal fan because you won a European trophy. I don't see where you go if you get rid of him. I think you saw my tweet. I think I tweeted you the other day, and I said Gary O'Neill's a shout. I know you're not a fan of it. I know.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel someone of that ilk. I know Will Steele and all that were linked, whatever. But I think Gary O'Neill's done a great job. But Moyes is one of your better managers, one of your great managers of what he's done. And he's brought in, is it him or is it Tim Steddard? I don't know. But they're great players at your club now. And I feel like it's a hard one. If there was more managers available that were linked to go to West Ham, then yeah, maybe so. But I don't see what else you can do other than Moyes. And he's got rid of that Big Six record that was over him, if you remember. You remember that one? Yeah. Time. So I feel he's cooking slowly with him. I really do. I think the only concern for West Ham is, can you keep hold of if City come in the summer and go and bid for Paqueta?
Well, yeah.
Someone going to come for Bowen. I think Kudus will do one more season at least.
Yeah.
Bowen, someone going to come for. I know he's signing you do, but money talks in this game. We know that.
I don't think Bowen will go, Matt. I really don't. I think he embraces the club. I think signing that 7-year deal just proves that to me. So if out of the 3 of them, Paqueta's the first, Kudus is the second, and I'll be very shocked if Bowen was to leave the club. If I'm going to be straight, yeah. I get what you're saying, but then I do look at it that under the owner that we've currently got, people keep forgetting that. People keep forgetting, and they keep forgetting, and that David Sullivan is in charge of this club, and that to me it's like banging my head up against the wall because.
Sorry, touching that, James. Quickly, sorry. That Sullivan thing, I used to hear it back and forth. Sullivan gold, this and that. When I heard that interview after you won your conference and he was talking about Declan, that's when I was like, I remember listening to it thinking, what? If my owner was doing that afterwards, I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, what? Are you mad? But again, now I fully understand. And I've got a couple of West Ham mates, my dad as well. And he's like, as long as that guy is there, we're not going anywhere. Nothing's happening with West Ham. And it's sad to say. It's very, very, because I see Tim Steddard's doing a great job, what the players he's brought in. But I think even with him, he's thinking, no, we need someone else above. Like Sullivan needs to go. I agree with that fully.
What it is with me is I ain't fussed with whether Stein goes out and picks another manager. But will Sullivan allow him to do that? That's the $1 million question. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, we can go out and find one of the top end managers from around the world. But if David Sullivan wants to go with someone who's cheap, who ain't going to cost a lot of money, and who's going to do as he's told, then it's pointless started looking. Do you know what I'm saying? And the problem is, I put this out on Twitter the other day. Yeah, even though I haven't done no YouTube for a little bit. Yeah, I told her, I said, someone named me the last time David Sullivan bought someone out of their contract. Never has. He's never done it in his life. So when people think that he's just going to go out and drop X amount on a Alonso or a Slot or an Almerin, it ain't fucking happening, mate. I would love it to happen. I'd love to be proved wrong, but I've got to be realistic and say I do not believe at all that Sullivan's going to go and buy someone out of their contract, whether Stardon's here or not. And it proves it the other week when we had the Osmond deal. Yeah, we was linked with Osmond, Ghanaian youngster. We were chasing this geezer like for about 4 or 5 days in the window, and then as soon as the window finishes, Brighton get the geezer done, and it's all because of agents, like illegal agents. But all of a sudden now it can be done. So you've got to look at the owner at the end of the day, and I've always said that. For me, Matt, I'll be honest. When I look at Moyes, the style of play is shit, but with me, I'm like, you can't have it all. Like, you can't have it all. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't have amazing football, unless like something's got to give. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'd rather be a bastard at the minute and be like, you know what, it ain't amazing, but we're getting the results and we're getting up there, and then building. Personally, for me, before I sort of hand it over to you for your final sort of point on this, I would rather David Moyes build this side over the next 2 years. And then hand it over to someone who can come in and do the job. I don't think this squad is ready to be handed over. I think there's too much that needs to be done. I think we haven't got a bench, really. A bench is shit. When I look at Maxwell Corner and Danny Ings, are you taking the piss? Like, let's be honest, like, that's just not it. When I look at the talent that we've got a good bunch, but we're relying on these players all the time. Like your Alvarez's, your Kuduses, your Bowens, your Paquetas. Right, we haven't even got a centre forward at the club, and we need a centre forward. So I think there's a lot to done. Would I rather have a manager in who's keeping us going to a point where we're sort of stable enough to hand it over to another manager like an Almerin. But I do think, if I'm being honest, until the owner goes, nothing will ever change. And I've always said this, and I've been so strong on this for the minute one. I've said the ownership of the club is the problem. Like, David Moyes is an employee at the end of the day, and he can be replaced. But the owner needs to get out, because he's just not doing it at all. He really isn't. What are you saying on this, Matt? I know you say about Moyes and everything. Are we too unappreciated, or are we?
No, do you know what the points you've made are so valid? I just want to ask, there was that Czech Republic guy linked.
Kadinsky, he's there.
What happened with that?
He's there. He's the second majority shareholder.
Again, I feel like I do feel like West Ham are on the cusp. I feel like you do need that switch where someone goes and some, as you said, Moyes, he's building something good. And I think, 2 years, pass it over. But I feel like in turn, you need to change that owner. And then I think you'll see West Ham flourish. And I think from then onwards, you'll be 6, I would say 6 and above from there. Because, as I said, you've got the talent. But it doesn't help when you've got the talent and your manager screaming out for players. Look at that guy, was it Fabio Borges or Borges? I think that was a set to happen. And then it didn't. And now you've got Osman as well. Brighton went and got him. So it must be frustrating for West Ham fans, I can imagine. But again, I feel like you're in a good place. It's just that little bit that's got to change. Listen, we had the issue with Kroenke out.
I remember that, like, clear as day. Like I say, I know a lot of Arsenal fans, and you don't hear nothing about Kroenke, because obviously they've gone out and got the manager. And let's be honest, when Arteta come to Arsenal fans were mixed big time. They was like looking at was it Ancelotti was mentioned? There was the extra. Do you know what I mean? You have to have a balance here, and say, right, if you want West Ham to be the West Ham that are currently now, you've got to go and get a better manager. But the problem is with the owner of the club, and it proved it to me in the January window. I done a video 2.5 weeks ago, and I said word for word what's going to happen, and exactly what happened. West Ham will go out, chase 2 to 3 targets, not get no one, shut the window down, get rid of a few players, and that'll be it. It's just, and that's the problem with the club. And I understand with the FFP. Don't get me wrong, you've got to be realistic with the FFP, because you can't overspend and everything. And when you look at Everton and other clubs and all that for the situation that's happened with them. I totally get that. But when I look at our team right now, a top end manager is not going to come in and work with 5 players. He wants to work with a squad.
Yeah.
And that is it, basically. Do you know what I'm saying? I'll come to that at a later date. But let's go to a starting 11, Matt. What are you saying for your 11 Sunday?
I think same 11 against Liverpool. I feel, yeah, you're going to see Raya in goal, White, Gabriel Saliba, Zinni, Rice, Jorginho, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli. If Jesus is fit, it'll be Jesus. And again, I look at little things like I think Zinchenko played well against Liverpool, did well. I think White's coming back into form as well now. Yeah, I think that's going to be our 11. All right, bench as well. Got Emil Smith, you know, the guy you guys have been linked with on the bench with Reece Nelson. So, yeah, I think it will be the same 11 against Liverpool. There's no reason to change it unless there's any niggles, injuries. I can't see him changing the 11 at all.
Strong team, mate. I must admit, the Jorginho Rice thing, I think Arsenal have stumbled across something there.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, that would have been the last sort of 2 I would have thought. Like, you know what I mean? But Jorginho's doing it. For me, Areola has to play in this game. I'm not on it with the Fab thing. I think Fabianski's too old. He needs to be let go, and he's 38 years of age. Right back's going to be interesting because I want to see West Ham go for this, right? But I think West Ham are going to set up in a low block like they always do and try and counter Arsenal. I can understand it because Arsenal are going to come forward and Arsenal are going to try and win the game. But West Ham are going to play. Arsenal are going to play into West Ham's hands a little bit by coming forward, so it gives us the opportunity to get Bowen, Kudus away. Do you know what I'm saying? We've got a bit of a major fucking issue at central midfield. Like, I'll go through the defence quickly. Like, Zuma will probably play. Yeah. Aguerd for me is an interesting one because if you want the pace factor, you go with Aguerd. But Mavropanos has played twice against Arsenal, played pretty well, scored one. Emerson picks himself because he's absolutely brilliant for us. I'm not gonna lie, yeah, top player, and no one really mentions about how we got him. Like everyone says about Steidem, but no one mentions about Rob Newman who signed him. I will say that. Now the midfield's an interesting one because we've got Calvin Phillips sitting on the bench, we've got Souček, we've got Ward-Prowse, and we've got Alvarez. Now, for me, Alvarez has to play. Yes, he has to play because I think he's quality. I think Calvin Phillips is an interesting one for me because I want him to do well for West Ham. I do, but I'm not seeing nothing yet of him. He looks rusty as heck. Like, do you know what I'm saying? And is this the game for him? I don't know. I really don't know. But it wouldn't be a bad shot because we're going to need energy in that midfield because Arsenal are going to be spraying balls around all over the place. So I'm a bit 50-50 on him. I think Ward-Prowse will play, and then basically it is a toss of a coin between Souček and Phillips. Now, Souček scored against Arsenal last time out. He seems to play pretty decent against Arsenal. The only problem is if he don't score, he does nothing. That's the issue that we've got with him at the minute. Like if he scores goals, then everyone says fair enough. Do you know what I'm saying? So it wouldn't surprise me if it is Souček and Phillips is on the bench again. Right? I will say that, and he comes on in the sort of 70th minute if the game's level or we're in front. Up top, if Antonio's not back, I think if Antonio turns up and he's on the bench, that will be such a blessing for all of us. Because I don't think he's going to be fit enough to start. But if imagine him coming on in the 70th minute when the game's, and he does play all right against Arsenal. I will say that, right? So I'm going to say it will be Kudus and Bowen. That's like a 2-man, like possible 3-man attack. I don't want to see Ward-Prowse on the left-hand side. I think that's a recipe for disaster. But whatever happens at the weekend, as long as we have a go and we don't get blitzed, and just split open and just smash the bits, then I'll be happy. Do you know what I mean? But just don't get hammered. That's what I'm going to say. Right, let's come to this, Matt. Score prediction time. What are you saying for the weekend?
I should say we're going to lose, so it's the opposite this time. I've been saying we're going to win the last 2 and we didn't win them. So, you know what I mean?
I know. Go on. say it again. Go on.
You know what? I'm going to risk it. I'm going to say it again. I think 3-1 Arsenal. I feel like it's going to be the type of game where I know you guys are going to play a low block, but I just think the Liverpool game will give us enough confidence to think, you know what? You did it against Liverpool. There's no excuse why you can't do it against a team like West Ham. And again, that's not discrediting West Ham. Just West Ham. So I think we'll do that. And honestly, I just feel it's one of them games where we're going to turn up. I feel like last season And obviously, when we drew 2-2, whatever, you beat us early in the season as well, the Emirates. I feel like it's a bit of retribution. You know how it works in football. You look at them, oh, they did us last time. We had 30 shots against. Well, we create chances against you. That's not a problem. We just don't finish them. And I feel like if we score early, I think honestly, I it could be 3-4-1. I do think you guys will score because you have great individual quality. But the midfield is where it will be won. I think if Alvarez is playing, he's surprised me, by the way. Let me just say, because when he's linked with Dortmund, all these teams, I was like, oh, he's not all that. He wasn't all that at Ajax, but he has made a massive difference to you guys. And obviously, back. Yeah, you guys, I think you'll score one, but I do think we'll win. I think we'll run out like 3-1 winners.
I'm going to say a draw. I think this is nailed on. I think West Ham turn up in this game. Like they every time West Ham are in a bad moment and a big team comes to the LS, West Ham turn up. Do I think West Ham can beat Arsenal? Possibly, but I think Arsenal are a better team now. Like in the recent moment, even though when we beat them at the Emirates, we was lucky to a point, but we still done the job. We still got the job done. I'm going to say 2-2. I think it's going to be a great game. I think West Ham know that it's a big game. I think the Declan Rice thing comes into play again, which also makes it a big game. I think Alvarez and Rice, that's going to be a good battle. I think that's going to be a great battle if I'm being honest. But I do think West Ham will get something out of this game. I'll be very, very shocked if West Ham get destroyed by Arsenal. I don't think West Ham will get destroyed like they did against Fulham, for instance. Yeah, I don't see an hammering coming from that perspective. But if Arsenal do score early and they do score first, it could be a long day because then West Ham will have to come out and then Arsenal will counter-attack us and just keep countering us all the time. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I think we might get something out of this game and I hope so. Do you know what I mean? If we get a win, Matt, I won't let you come on again.
Listen, you pulled me up last time and I popped up and these fans are at me. But to be fair, it's all banks and love all the time, innit? But I just, you know, I just don't like seeing any team not beating a team over a season. You beat us twice already. Please, I want to get this one done. I've had no dad calling me. I want to look at my phone. There's no missed calls and just think, yeah, that's right. I thought so. You know.
That's all right. That's all right. Well, you're more than welcome to come on here on Sunday. I will say that. Matt, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on as always, mate. Thank you very much for coming on. I really do appreciate it. Before I go, I just want to say this. I had a little time away. And I'm going to go through the reasons why I had a little time away. Dealing with mental health in a family environment is very, very hard. And as a son, you've got to do what's right for the family at the end of the day. And one of my family members was suffering very, very bad over the last sort of few weeks. And I'll be honest with you, with the West Ham thing and mental health and trying to deal with that, deal with this, like sometimes I had to take a step back because I don't want to go over the edge. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm good. I'm healthy. I'm fine in myself, but things happen behind the scenes where, like, sort of thing. What I'm doing now is I'm talking to Matt about football and everything, but what happens is people's personal life is personal. But I am going to bring it to the sort of forefront. I want to thank Mind Charity because I reached out to them on Twitter. It took them a little while to get back to me. I ain't going to lie, but they did get back to me and they sort of helped me out, guided me in the right direction for people who I needed to speak to, and everything is all right now. Everything's good, and I will continue to be the son that I am, and I'll continue to be the lad I am on here as always. I want to thank Lucas, Clive, Tom, and West Ham Online because they sort of covered the show for me as I was away. But I'm going to be straight with you, yeah. All this negative vibe in life, you just got to stop it, mate, because it's fucking. I'll tell you what, there's more to life than just keep being negative and depressing all the time. Do you know what I'm saying? And I will say one thing. When you see a family member going through that, one's suffering and one's also suffering, one who's got mental health and one who hasn't, I tell you what, mate, that's like someone dying in your family, mate, because that is hard. I will say that. But my mum is good and my dad will get there in the end. I will say that. So, yeah, smash a like on the video. Goes a long way. I am back. I'll be back Sunday. And trust me, I cannot wait. But if we do lose, Matt, you're more than welcome to come on, mate. I will say that.
I'm going to say, listen, nice to hear you're on the mend. Obviously, everything all good at home. Obviously, you know, I reached out to you, checked your whatever. I just want to say the same thing. I feel like for us guys, this is just an outlet for us, isn't it? We come on to football. This is like a therapy for us. We enjoy talking about. We not forget, but it's a release for a bit. You know what I mean, for us. So when you come on, you get any form of negativity. It doesn't help. So, just keep the love, man. The peace. Keep supporting each other. You know what I mean? And just keep doing this. You know what I mean?
No, listen. At the end of the day, I'm fine. I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm perfectly strong-minded. Don't get me wrong. Some people ain't, and like it goes down the road a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Because what affects one person might not affect someone else, and I can't be everywhere, mate. I can't be a partner, a son, a YouTuber, everything else. You know what I'm saying? In the end, I was getting to a stage where I was finding it so tough. I was like, I've got to give something's got to give here. Otherwise, I'm gonna start going down the pan myself, and I'm not prepared to go down the pan for anyone, mate. At the end of the day, I've got too much to live for. So, it's what it is. But we will talk about that in future. Shout out to Mind Charity also. As I said just a minute ago, absolute superb. That's enough from me. That's enough from Matt. Go and enjoy your Friday wherever you are. I'll be back Sunday. He's giving it the iron sight as always, because he's going to become a fan by the end of the week.
I'm trying to jinx you.
He's trying to jinx us, but it is what it is. And I will see you again in the next one. Take care of yourselves. And as I always say on this channel, each other. A boss.